Generation 5 competitive 1v1 Pokemon was once a tier dominated by powerful Pokemon such as Kyurem Black, Dragonite, and Cottonee. Yes, Cottonee. 1v1 is a format where you bring 3 and pick 1. Because there's no switching and you only need 1 KO, there's a lot of interesting strategies that would never work in standard play. All these Pokemon were eventually banned from the metagame, but the first bans of Generation 5 1v1 were not legendaries or mythicals, but the Whimsicott line. Even Cottonee, Whimsicott's pre-evolution, was overpowered. What strategy could have possibly gotten Cottonee banned from a tier before Kyurem Black? Before we get into Cottonee, we need to take a look at Whimsicott. Whimsicott could use a substitute Leech Seed strategy thanks to its ability Prankster, where it could Leech Seed on the opposing Pokemon turn 1, and as long as it lived the following attack, it could stall out the target by alternating between Protect and Substitute. This strategy works even in Generation 8, but Whimsicott was much deadlier in Generation 5. In Generation 7, a mechanic was introduced where Dark types became immune to Prankster moves, but this mechanic did not exist in Generation 5. In Generation 6, Sound moves were introduced which can hit a Pokemon through Substitute, but once again in Generation 5 this mechanic did not exist. Moves such as Bug Buzz and Uproar existed, but they did not hit through Substitute. Finally, Fairy types did not exist in Generation 5, which meant Whimsicott was a pure Grass type. In most situations you would love to have a dual Fairy type because Fairy is a great type and adds a lot of resistances. But in this case, even though you gain resistances, you also gain weaknesses. Whimsicott does not care about gaining resistances because it has the bulk to live most neutral hits anyway, and as long as it lives one hit, it wins the game. Adding weaknesses is bad because it means there are more moves that can one-hit KO you. Whimsicott would also run Taunt in its 4th move slot, allowing it to taunt opposing Pokemon before they could taunt Whimsicott. The only way to reliably beat Whimsicott was to either be a Grass-type Pokemon, use Rapid Spin, which is otherwise terrible in a 1v1 format, or to one-hit KO Whimsicott on the turn it uses Leech Seed. Being a pure Grass type left Whimsicott with a weakness to 2 common offensive types in Fire and Ice, but it could choose to negate one of those weaknesses with either an Aqua Berry or a Yache Berry. Whimsicott's only other weaknesses were uncommon types like Flying, Bug, and Poison. All of these factors combined left Whimsicott with an extremely limited list of counters, and it was banned from the Gen 5 1v1 metagame. After the Whimsicott ban, Kyurem Black was considered to be the best Pokemon in the metagame, and it would eventually be banned. But there was a new threat taking the attention away from Kyurem Black, and that was Cottonee. After the Whimsicott ban, people started using Cottonee. It could use the same Leech Seed stall strategy, and Eviolite gave it similar bulk to Whimsicott. The only downside was that it could not use Weakness Berries the same way Whimsicott could, and it had to use the item slot for Eviolite. That meant Pokemon such as Victini and Specs Ice Beam Latios were now reliable counters. Even so, this worse version of Whimsicott heavily restricted what people could run on teams unless they wanted to risk having a bad matchup versus Cottonee. People began to run insane Cottonee counter teams, such as Iron Fist Focus Punch Conkeldurr, as Cottonee did not run an attacking move, or Specs Analytic Starmie with Ice Beam to take advantage of the fact that Cottonee would always move first with Prankster. Some players even began to run Imprison Kyurem Black with Substitute to stop Cottonee from using Substitute. Kyurem Black literally had to prepare itself for Cottonee, not the other way around. The metagame came to revolve completely around counter-teaming Cottonee, and it was decided that Cottonee was too restricting on what moves and item a Pokemon could run and was considered overpowered. For example, Kyurem Black could otherwise be using the Imprison and Substitute move slots on coverage moves such as Hidden Power Fire or Earth Power, but it could not afford to do so because of Cottonee's presence. As a result, the non-fully evolved Pokemon Cottonee was banned from the Gen 5 1v1 metagame even before Kyurem Black. And if you like hearing about innovative strategies, check out my video about how the change to critical hit mechanics reinvented a new strategy in competitive Pokemon.